The day started like any other Tuesday for Dr. Alan Carter. He drank his coffee, checked his emails, and prepared for a normal day at NASA's research lab. Then his phone rang. The caller didn't say much, just that a car was waiting outside to take him to the White House right away. As the black car sped through the morning traffic, Alan looked up at the sky. That's when he saw it. A huge ship hanging in the clear blue sky. It was shaped like a crystal and shone with a light that seemed to come from within. How had something so big appeared without warning? No radar had seen it coming. It had simply appeared above Earth. What do we know about it? Alan asked when he arrived at the White House Situation Room. The room was packed with military generals, scientists, and government leaders. Everyone looked scared. "Nothing yet," said the president, her face pale with worry. "It's just sitting there." At exactly noon, every screen on Earth lit up at the same time. Phones, computers, TVs, all showed the same image of a being made of light. It spoke in a voice that somehow felt ancient yet clear. "I am Zephyrus," it said, "the last of my kind. I have watched your world for many years. I have come to offer gifts." People around the world reacted in different ways. Some ran to churches and temples to pray. Others hid in their homes. Armies pointed their weapons at the sky, though their generals knew these would do nothing against such advanced technology. "What does it want?" asked General Harris, his hand hovering over the red button that would launch missiles. "It says it wants to give us gifts," said Alan. "But why? What kind of gifts? And why us?" For 3 days, world leaders argued about what to do. Some wanted to attack the ship. Others wanted to ignore it. Finally, they decided to send someone to meet Zephyrus. Dr. Olivia Martinez was chosen for this important job. She was smart, brave, and good at talking to people. Before becoming a scientist, she had worked for the United Nations, helping countries solve problems together. On the morning of the 4th day, Olivia stood on the landing pad, looking up at the strange ship. A small crowd watched as she prepared to board the shuttle that would take her up. "Are you afraid?" asked a reporter who had snuck past security. Olivia thought for a moment. "Yes," she finally said, "but I'm also curious. This could be the most important meeting in human history." The shuttle lifted off smoothly. As it flew toward the crystal ship, Olivia felt her heart beating fast. What would she find inside? Would she ever come back? The crystal ship grew larger in the window. Now she could see it was covered in strange patterns that seemed to move when she wasn't looking directly at them. A door opened in the side of the ship, glowing with soft blue light. As the shuttle entered, Olivia took a deep breath. She was about to meet a being from another world, perhaps the most powerful creature in the galaxy. What did it really want with humans? Why had it chosen Earth? And what kind of gifts did an all-powerful alien bring to a young species just taking its first steps into space? The shuttle landed gently inside a vast room that seemed bigger on the inside than the ship had looked from outside. As the door opened, Olivia stepped out into the unknown. "Welcome," said a voice that seemed to come from everywhere at once. "I have waited a long time to meet you." Olivia squared her shoulders and stepped forward. Whatever happened next would change Earth forever. 3 days passed with no word from Dr. Olivia Martinez. People around the world watched the sky and waited. News channels showed the same pictures of the crystal ship over and over. Parents held their children close. Soldiers stayed at their posts. Everyone wondered what was happening inside that strange vessel. Then, on the morning of the 4th day, the shuttle returned. A crowd gathered at the landing site. Military guards formed a tight circle as the shuttle doors opened. Dr. Martinez stepped out, looking tired but unharmed. In her hands was a simple metal box about the size of a lunch container. "She's back," someone shouted. Cameras flashed. People pushed forward to see. Alan Carter was one of the first to reach her. "Are you okay? What happened up there?" Olivia smiled. Her eyes had a strange look, like someone who had seen things they couldn't fully explain. "It was amazing," she said. "Zephyrus showed me things I never imagined possible." and it gave me this." She held up the box. 2 hours later, in a secure room at the United Nations, Olivia opened the box for world leaders. Inside was a small device that looked like a silver disc with blue light flowing through it. "This is the first gift," she explained. "Zephyrus calls it a water purifier. It can clean any water, no matter how dirty. It never needs power and never wears out." The president frowned. "That's it." After all that build-up, Olivia placed the device in a glass of murky brown water someone had brought for testing. The water instantly turned clear and clean. Tests showed it was purer than the best bottled water on Earth. "Zephyrus says there will be 6 more gifts," Olivia continued. "1 each month. Each gift will help solve a big problem for humans." Some leaders were still suspicious. Why would this alien help us? What does it want in return? Olivia shook her head. "Zephyrus says the gifts are freely given. No payment needed." Scientists studied the water purifier but couldn't understand how it worked. It seemed to break the laws of physics as humans knew them. Still, they made copies and sent them to places where clean water was hard to find. Within weeks, millions of people who never had safe water before could drink without fear of getting sick. A month later, just as promised, Olivia went back to the ship. This time, she returned with a small sphere that glowed with green light. "The second gift is an energy source," she told the world. "It creates clean power with no pollution. 1 sphere can power a whole city forever." As the energy spheres were shared around the world, lights came on in villages that never had electricity before. Factories stopped making smoke. The air grew cleaner. Gary Peterson was a journalist from a small town in Nebraska. Nobody knew his name before he somehow managed to talk to Dr. Martinez alone. "Why us?" Gary asked during their interview. "Why would the most powerful being in the galaxy pick humans for these gifts?" Olivia looked troubled. "I've been wondering that too. While on the ship, I saw images of other worlds, other beings. Zephyrus has visited thousands of planets over billions of years. And many of those civilizations aren't around anymore." Olivia's voice grew quiet. "I'm starting to think these gifts might be more than just gifts. They might be some kind of test." As they talked, the crystal ship hung silently above Earth. Inside, Zephyrus watched and waited. The third gift was coming soon. And with each gift, the stakes for humanity grew higher. The third gift arrived exactly 1 month later. This time, Dr. Olivia Martinez brought back a small blue cube that could heal almost any disease. Hospitals around the world received copies of the device. People who had been sick for years suddenly got better. Children who might have died lived. It seemed like a miracle. By the time the 4th gift arrived, a green powder that made plants grow in any soil, most people had stopped being afraid of Zephyrus. Now they waited eagerly for each new gift. The green powder ended hunger in poor countries. Deserts turned into farmland. No one had to go without food anymore. But Patricia Rice wasn't celebrating. As a cybersecurity expert working for the international team studying the gifts, she spent her days looking for hidden dangers. And finally, she found something. "Look at this," she told her boss, Frank Daniels, pointing at her computer screen. "There's a hidden code in the 5th gift." The 5th gift had been a small crystal that allowed people to talk to anyone in the world instantly, without phones or internet. It was already changing how people worked and lived. Frank leaned closer to see. "What kind of code?" "It's tracking us," Patricia said. "All the gifts are. They're watching how we use them, what we do with them. They're collecting data about us." Frank frowned. "Have you told anyone else about this?" Patricia shook her head. "Not yet. I wanted to be sure first." "Keep it that way," Frank said. "We don't want to cause panic." Meanwhile, Olivia made her regular visits to Zephyrus' ship. The alien being showed her amazing things, stars being born, worlds with creatures humans could hardly imagine, technology thousands of years beyond Earth's. But during her 12th visit, something strange happened. While Zephyrus was explaining how the sixth gift worked, a device that could change Mars into a place where humans could live, Olivia noticed a door she hadn't seen before. It was slightly open. "What's through there?" she asked. "Storage," Zephyrus said quickly. "Nothing important." Later, when Zephyrus was busy showing her something else, Olivia slipped away and went through the door. Inside was a huge room filled with strange objects. At first, she didn't understand what she was seeing. Then it hit her. These were collections of things from other worlds. Thousands of them. She moved deeper into the room. Each collection started with objects that looked very similar to the gifts humans had received. But the collections all ended the same way, with weapons more and more advanced. And at the end of each collection was a small crystal cube with a date and a single word: extinct. Olivia felt cold suddenly. These were records of dead civilizations, thousands of them, and each had received gifts like Earth was getting now. When she returned to Earth, Olivia couldn't stop thinking about what she had seen. She needed to talk to someone, but who would believe her? Then she remembered the cybersecurity expert who had found strange code in the gifts. Maybe she would listen. Olivia found Patricia's contact information and sent her a message. "We need to talk. Not over regular channels. It's about Zephyrus. I think we're being tested." They met in a quiet park the next day. As they walked among the trees, Olivia told Patricia what she had seen on the ship. "So these other civilizations," Patricia said slowly, "they all received the same gifts." "Yes, and they all died out afterward. All except a very few." Patricia's face was grim. "What do you think happened to them?" "I don't know for sure," Olivia said, "but I think the gifts themselves might have been what destroyed them." Above them, the crystal ship continued its silent watch over Earth. 3 more gifts were still to come, and the fate of humanity hung in the balance. Patricia and Olivia knew they needed help. The 7th and final gift would arrive soon, and they still didn't understand what Zephyrus really wanted. They needed someone who could think differently about the problem. William Howard had been a professor of anthropology for 40 years before he retired. He had spent his life studying how different human cultures worked and why some survived while others disappeared. When Patricia called him, he was feeding birds in his backyard. "Alien gifts," he said, his voice crackling over the phone. "Sounds fascinating. When can we meet?" The next day, the 3 of them sat in William's small study. Books lined the walls from floor to ceiling. Olivia explained what she had seen on the ship. Patricia showed him the hidden code she had found in the gifts. William listened carefully, stroking his gray beard. Then he got up and pulled an old book from a shelf. "It reminds me of something," he said. "Throughout human history, when an advanced civilization meets a less advanced one, the meeting usually ends badly for the weaker group." "You think Zephyrus wants to destroy us?" Patricia asked. William shook his head. "Not exactly. I think this is more like a test, a way to see if we deserve to exist." "But why test us with gifts?" Olivia asked. "Why not just look at our history, our culture?" "Because," William said slowly, "the true nature of a species shows in how they handle power. Give a child a stick, and you learn something about them. Give them a gun, and you learn everything." They worked day and night, studying the gifts and the code hidden inside them. Patricia discovered that the tracking system was monitoring not just how humans used the gifts, but how equally they shared them. "Look at this," she said, pointing to her computer screen. "The tracking system pays special attention to whether the benefits of the gifts reach everyone or just certain groups." Olivia nodded. "That makes sense with what I saw. The extinct civilizations probably kept the gifts for themselves, the powerful few using them against the many." The day of the 7th gift finally arrived. As always, Olivia went up to the ship alone. This time, Zephyrus led her to a new room she had never seen before. "This is the final gift," the alien said, its voice echoing in her mind. "The most powerful of all." The device looked simple, a small silver cylinder with a single button. But Olivia could feel power coming from it like heat from a fire. "What does it do?" she asked. "It allows control of genetic code," Zephyrus explained. "Your people can use it to remove all disease, extend life, enhance abilities. They could become like gods." Olivia felt cold fear in her stomach. The other civilizations, this is what destroyed them, isn't it? Zephyrus was silent for a moment. Then it seemed to sigh, though it had no body to breathe with. "Not the gift itself," it said finally, "but what it revealed about them. Most species, when given such power, use it against themselves. They fight over who should have it. The strong use it to become stronger. The rich use it to live forever while others die. In the end, they destroy themselves through greed and fear." "And that's the test?" Olivia asked. "To see if we'll do the same." "Yes," Zephyrus admitted. "I have visited 10,483 worlds in my long life. Only 14 passed this test. The others tore themselves apart within years of receiving the final gift." Olivia looked at the device in her hands. "I'm not sure we're ready for this." "No one ever is," Zephyrus said. "That is the point of the test. Will you accept this gift, knowing what you know now?" Olivia took a deep breath. She had to decide for all of humanity. Olivia returned to Earth with the 7th gift. Her hand shook as she carried the small silver cylinder into the United Nations meeting room. World leaders leaned forward in their seats, eager to see what Zephyrus had given this time. "This device can change human DNA," Olivia explained. "It can make people live longer, cure any genetic disease, and give people new abilities." The room exploded with noise. Some leaders jumped to their feet, shouting questions. Others sat in shocked silence. "Who will control this technology?" asked one president. "My country should be in charge of it," said another. "No, the United Nations should control it," argued a third. Olivia watched with a heavy heart. It was already starting, the fight over who would control the power, just like Zephyrus had warned. News of the final gift spread quickly. Around the world, people argued about how it should be used. Some wanted to make their children smarter or stronger. Others wanted to live for hundreds of years. Companies offered huge amounts of money to get the technology first. In some countries, people marched in the streets, demanding the gift be shared with everyone. In others, military leaders planned how to use it to make super soldiers who could win any war. Patricia, Olivia, and William watched it all with growing worry. "We're failing the test," Patricia said, scrolling through news reports on her tablet, just like the others did. Then something unexpected happened. Jack Rivera, a philosophy professor from Detroit, gave a talk online about the gifts. He wasn't famous. He wasn't rich or powerful. But his words touched something deep in people's hearts. "These gifts aren't really about the technology," Jack said in his quiet, thoughtful voice. "They're about us, about what kind of people we choose to be." His talk spread across the internet. Millions of people watched it, then hundreds of millions. "The test isn't what we do with each gift," Jack continued. "It's how we share them. Do we help each other, or do we fight over who gets the most power?" Jack's words made people think. Groups formed in cities around the world to discuss how the gifts should be used fairly. Students, teachers, workers, and even some politicians joined these groups. Olivia contacted Jack, and soon he joined her team. Together with Patricia and William, they started the Unity Project. Its goal was simple: make sure all 7 gifts were used to help everyone, not just the rich or powerful. They faced strong opposition. Many wealthy people and powerful countries wanted to keep the gifts for themselves. Some companies tried to buy the technology to sell it for profit. Military leaders argued they needed it for national defense. But the Unity Project kept growing. More and more people joined. They shared ideas online about how to use the gifts fairly. They elected local leaders to make sure everyone in their communities had access to clean water, energy, and medical care from the first gifts. One day, Patricia made an amazing discovery about the 7th gift. The genetic modifier doesn't work if it's only used on one person, she told the others. It has to be used on groups who agree to share the benefits equally. This changed everything. The device couldn't be used selfishly. It was designed to force cooperation. Sci-Fi built that into it, Olivia realized. It's part of the test, to see if we'll put aside our differences and work together. William nodded. The question is, can humans do that? Can we overcome thousands of years of fighting over resources and power? As the debate continued around the world, the crystal ship still hung in the sky. Inside, Zephyrus watched and waited. The real test of humanity had begun. 6 months had passed since the 7th gift arrived. Around the world, things were changing in ways no one had expected. The Unity Project had grown into something much bigger than Olivia, Patricia, William, and Jack had imagined. Millions of people had joined. They didn't want to fight over the gifts. They wanted to share them. An unlikely hero emerged to lead this movement. Sandra Walsh had been a kindergarten teacher in a small town before Zephyrus came. Now she traveled the world, helping communities work together to use the gifts wisely. When I taught 5-year-olds, Sandra often said, I had one rule: share everything. It turns out that rule works for grown-ups too. Sandra's simple idea became known as the Unity Protocol. Each community would have a local council that decided how to use the gifts. Anyone could join these councils. The only rule was that decisions had to help everyone, not just some people. Under the Unity Protocol, the first 6 gifts were already changing life on Earth. Clean water flowed everywhere. Energy was free and clean. No one went hungry. Diseases that had killed millions were gone. People could talk to anyone, anywhere, without cost. And the first human settlement on Mars had already begun, using the 6th gift to make the red planet livable. But the 7th gift, the genetic modifier, remained unused. No one could agree on how to use it safely and fairly. We need more time, Sandra told a crowd in Cairo. This gift is too powerful to use until we're ready. Many people agreed, but others grew impatient. In some countries, powerful leaders tried to take the genetic modifier by force. They sent soldiers to attack Unity Project centers. They arrested people who supported sharing the gifts. For a few dark weeks, it seemed like war might break out. Military planes flew near the crystal ship, threatening to attack if Zephyrus didn't give them control of all 7 gifts. This is how it happened on the other worlds, Olivia said sadly as she watched the news with her friends. This is how they failed the test. But then something happened that Zephyrus had rarely seen before in its billions of years watching young civilizations. People stood up to the powerful leaders. Soldiers refused to fire on civilians. Workers stopped working. Students filled the streets in peaceful protests. And millions of ordinary people linked hands around Unity Project centers to protect them. We choose to share, they chanted. We choose to care for each other. Faced with this massive, peaceful resistance, the leaders backed down. One by one, countries signed the Unity Agreement, promising to use all 7 gifts for the good of everyone. On the anniversary of Zephyrus's arrival, Olivia was invited back to the crystal ship. She went alone, unsure what to expect. You have surprised me, Zephyrus told her when she arrived. Most species I have visited see my gifts as weapons or tools for power. They used them to dominate others. We almost went that way too, Olivia admitted. We came very close to war. But you did not fall into that trap, Zephyrus said. When the moment of choice came, your people chose cooperation over conflict. Not everyone, Olivia said. Some still want to use the gifts for themselves. That is true on every world, Zephyrus replied. Perfect unity is not what I seek. What matters is the direction your species has chosen to move in, and you have chosen wisely. As Olivia looked out a window at Earth below, she saw it with new eyes. For all its problems, her world had passed a test that thousands of other civilizations had failed. What happens now? She asked. Now, said Zephyrus, You are ready to learn why I really came to Earth. 10 years had passed since Zephyrus first appeared above Earth. The world had changed in amazing ways. With the 7 gifts, humans had solved their biggest problems. No one went hungry. Disease was rare. Clean energy powered everything. The air and water were cleaner than they had been in centuries. People had finally agreed on how to use the 7th gift. It wasn't used to make superhumans or to help the rich live forever. Instead, it was used carefully to cure genetic diseases and to help people live healthier lives. Everyone had access to it, but no one could use it to gain power over others. On the 10th anniversary of first contact, Zephyrus did something it had never done before. It invited all of humanity to hear its story. Through every device on Earth, the ancient alien spoke directly to everyone. I was once part of a great civilization, Zephyrus began. We were powerful beyond your imagination. We could build stars and move planets. But we destroyed ourselves with our own technology. Images filled the minds of every person watching. A beautiful world with crystal cities and flying ships. Then war, fire, destruction. I was one of the few who survived, Zephyrus continued. I changed my form to what you see now so I could live for billions of years. I made a promise to find other intelligent life and help them avoid our fate. Now humans saw images of thousands of other worlds and strange beings. Some looked like giant insects. Others were made of light or gas. Each received the 7 gifts. Most fell into war and destroyed themselves. I have visited 10,483 worlds with intelligent life, Zephyrus said. Only 14 passed my test. Now you are the 15th. People around the world looked at each other in wonder. Humans had done something special, something rare in the galaxy. Why did you choose us? Asked a young girl named Lisa Nguyen. She had been dying from a rare disease when the 3rd gift cured her. Now her question was shown on screens worldwide. I choose all developing worlds I find, Zephyrus answered. But humans were special in one way. Your history is full of terrible wars and cruelty, but it is also full of amazing kindness and growth. You have an unusual ability to learn from your mistakes and become better. Zephyrus showed images from human history, wars and violence, but also people helping each other, fighting for justice, and working together to solve problems. Your capacity for both destruction and creation is remarkable, the alien continued. But what makes you truly special is your ability to choose a different path when you see you're going the wrong way. Zephyrus then revealed its final surprise. An 8th gift. It wasn't technology. It was knowledge of other species that had passed the test. Earth would now join a hidden community of successful civilizations spread across the galaxy. You are not alone, Zephyrus said. There are others waiting to meet you. But first you needed to prove you were ready. As Zephyrus prepared to leave Earth and continue its long mission, Lisa asked one more question. Will you ever come back to visit us? The answer echoed in the minds of every human on the planet. I never truly leave those who have proven worthy of remembrance. And of all the children of this galaxy I have met, you humans might be the most remarkable of all. The next day, the crystal ship was gone from Earth's sky. But humans were not the same. They had faced a cosmic test and passed. They had shown that despite their flaws, they could grow and change. They could choose cooperation over conflict. And somewhere out among the stars, other intelligent beings were waiting to welcome them to a larger family. The rare civilizations wise enough to use great power wisely.